Hey everybody, this is Mr. Drogemeyer. Thanks for joining me for our Algebra 1 lesson videos. Today we are in Unit 6, looking at lessons 10 and 11, linear functions from a description. So in these problems we want to be able to write the linear function based off of the descriptions that we were given. And so let's just jump in with our first example here. It says the value of the function f of x is 55 thirds when x equals -5. So we can think of this in terms of an ordered pair. So when x is -5, f of x, or y, is 55 thirds. And it's 13 when x equals 3. All right, so we have these two ordered pairs. We want to know what's the equation of that function. Well, in thinking of different ways that we can write the equation of a line, we have slope-intercept form. But to do that, we need to know the slope and the y-intercept. Well, we can find the slope here because we have 2 points, but we haven't been given the y-intercept. So in this case, we know we can find the slope, and we know a point on the line. We actually know 2 points on the line. So we could use point slope form for this one. So let's start by finding that slope. So we're going to take the difference between our y values. So 55 thirds minus 13. And I'm going to go ahead and make that into a fraction. So 13, if I was going to make it in thirds, 13 times 3 is 39. So that would be 39 thirds. That will just make our lives a little bit easier there with that subtraction. And then the difference between our x values, -5 minus 3. All right, well, 55 thirds minus 39 thirds. 55 minus 39 is 16. So that's going to be 16 thirds in the numerator. Denominator, -5 minus 3. That's -8. All right, and then let's simplify this. So 16 thirds divided by -8. That's the same as taking, if you're dividing by -8, that's the same as multiplying by 1/8. So thinking of that reciprocal idea. So 16 thirds times -1/8. 16 times 1 is 16. 3 times 8 is 24. This is going to be -16 24ths. Those are both divisible by 4, so I can simplify this one more time. I'm almost out of room there, so I'm going to write it down here below. 16 divided by 4 is 4. Oh, actually, let's see. I can divide both of those by 8, can't I? So 16 divided by 8 is 2. 24 divided by 8 is 3. So -2 thirds, that's my slope. And point slope form says that if I take y minus y1, that's equal to the slope times x minus x1. And y1 and x1 are going to be the x and y value from any point that's on the line. And so I'm going to use this point here. So y minus that y value of 13 is going to be equal to my slope, which is -2 thirds, times x minus the x value from that point, which is 3. So this would be an example of an equation or for that function. And I could simplify that from there to get it into slope-intercept form. I'm going to stop there. But so that would be an example of an equation for that function. Let's look at the next one here. It says an airplane is descending in preparation for a landing at an airport. The height h in meters of the airplane above the ground level of the airport is a linear function of time, where time is the number of minutes after the plane started to descend. So sometimes it's worth it to kind of draw a picture here. So I have my plane. Ooh, that's not a good plane. Neither is that, but you get the idea. So there's my plane. Here's the the ground level of the airport. And so it's telling us that the plane was at 39:15 above the ground when we started, or excuse me, 2 minutes into the descent. So at 2 minutes, it was 39:15, and it was 20:25 after 9 minutes. So how long will it take the plane to land at the airport after it started to descend? All right, so think about what we have here. We have 2 points. We can find the slope. So this is our t value, our time, and this is our h value, our height. So we're going to take the difference between the h value. H is like our y in this case. So 39:15 minus the 20:25. That's going to be over the 2 minus 9, the difference between the t values. So 39:15 minus 20:25, that's 1890. And then 2 minus 9 is negative 7. And so if I take 1890 and divide it by negative 7, I get negative 270. And let's think about what that slope means. That means that our plane is descending 270 meters every minute. All right, we want to know how long is it going to take the plane to land after it started to descend. Well, so we still have 20:25 left to go. There's a few different ways that we could approach this problem. We could write an equation. So we know that if we think about what we just did here with our point slope form, so h minus h1 in this case would be 20:25 is going to be equal to that negative 270, which would be our slope, times t minus 9. And then I would just need to, we could go ahead and simplify this. We want to know what's it going to be at height 0. So when the height is 0, so I plug in 0 for h here. I take the negative 270, I need to distribute that. So negative 270 times t, negative 270 times 9, excuse me, times negative 9, would give me a positive 2,430. And now we're trying to solve this for t. I could subtract that 2430 from this side, which would leave me with 270t, and the negative 2025 plus the minus 2430 is 4455 negative here. And so to solve that for t, I have to divide each side by 270, by negative 270. And I come up with 16.5 minutes is how long we would say it would take to descend. So that's one way that we could do it. Another way that we could look at it is it's taken us 9 minutes to get to this 20:25. So how long is it going to take to get the rest of that 20:25? Well, if you take 20:25 and divide it by our slope, which is the 270 per minute, that would tell us that we still have another 7.5 minutes to go. So we had gone 9 already. We go another 7.5. We get to our 16.5 minutes. So different ways that you can approach that problem, but either one that we looked at there would get you to the same result. All right, our last problem here says the value of the function f of x is -7 when x is 4. So when x is 4, f of x is -7, and it's -13 when x is -6. So when x is -6, f of x is -13. Excuse me. The value of the function, okay, and this was f of x. The value of the function g of x is 17 when x is -3 and is -3 when x is 5. So it says here, if p represents the slope of f of x and q represents the slope of g of x, what is the value of p divided by q? So basically we want to find the slopes here. So the slope of this first one, difference between our y values, that's -7 minus -13, over the difference between our x values, so 4 minus -6. Well, -7 minus -13, that's -7 plus 13, which would be +6. 4 minus -6, that's 4 plus 6, which is 10. So this slope is 6/10, or that would simplify to 3/5. So P equals 3/5. Now let's figure out what Q is going to be. So for Q, that's finding the slope of this g of x function. And so that difference between our y values again, 17 minus -3. X values, that's -3 minus 5. 17 minus -3, that's the same as 17 plus 3, which is 20. -3 minus 5, that's -8. And so 20 over -8, that would simplify to a -5/2, because each of those is divisible by 4. All right, so P is 3/5. Q is -5/2. We want to find the value of P over Q. So that's 3/5 divided by -5/2. Well, we're dividing fractions, so that's 3/5 dividing by -5/2, the same as multiplying by -2/5. We flip that fraction, and when we multiply these together, 3 times -2, that's -6. 5 times 5 is 25. We would get -6/25 for P over Q. All right, that's all I've got for you in this lesson. Thanks for watching. If you do have questions, please let us know. Thanks. Have a great day.